Absolutely. So, Punita, let's address that big overhang, right? The taco trade, which is currently playing out, and all eyes are in London. What's going to happen between US and China? I mean, even though US says that they're willing to actually remove restriction on some of their tech exports in exchange for China easing their limits on rare earth minerals. But how do you think that's going to really pan out? Because it seems like both parties are willing to negotiate, but it's literally like who's going to bell the cat first.
Well, it's in no one's interest to have an adverse outcome. So I'm hopeful that there'll be some negotiation that will be positive for both. Otherwise, the outcome could be negative. And the markets are not pricing in a big negative outcome. The markets are pricing in a neutral to positive outcome, which is why the markets have been strong across the board, whether it's US, whether it's Chinese markets, Asian markets, emerging markets. So I think that's the risk as well, that the markets are not pricing in a bad scenario.
Hi, Punita. Morning. This is Shrishti also joining in. But just wanted to have your take on the Indian market's valuation per se, because I remember almost a month back when we interacted with you, you were of the view that the Indian market valuations are still not very cheap. But given all the fundamental triggers you just highlighted, now do they look reasonable? And what's your overall take?
No, I do. I mean, I think they're still on the high side because the markets have rallied. But of course, India has underperformed some of the other emerging markets, particularly in Latin America and some of the other Asian countries, and also India's underperformed Europe. So relative valuations compared to some of these other markets has improved. But if you look at versus its own history, Indian market valuations are not cheap. We are still trading over 20 times multiples. And while growth would start picking up, particularly on the rural side with the rate cuts and a better monsoon, so there could be some better numbers coming on the denominator, but I still don't think that the valuations are, that attractive relative to its own history. They're not cheap. I mean, they're neutral to high.
With the call.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.